And now, undisputed UFC bantamweight champion of the world, Petr, no mercy, Yan!
They said he was too small. They said he was too raw. They said the division had giants, and he was just another hungry contender. But every now and then, a fighter arrives who rewrites the predictions. A fighter who refuses to blink when the world tells him no. And that fighter was Petr Yan. This is the story of the man who walked through doubters, rivals, and champions, until the UFC had no choice but to call him what he always knew he was, a world champion.
Такое достаточно холодное место, вот, так скажем, выживают в большей степени.
Nice and tight, nice and tight. Yeah, nice work, man.
Ну и такое воспитание проходит в самостоятельном ключе в большей степени.
Petr Yan's journey never began in bright lights or roaring crowds. It began in Siberia, harsh, cold, unforgiving, a place where discipline isn't taught in gyms, it's taught by survival. Yan grew up in Dudinka, a town where the winters are long and the days are short, but the willpower it shapes lasts a lifetime. As a kid, he wasn't born with the swagger or the natural dominance that champions often claim. He had to build everything by hand: skill, strength, confidence, grit. And like most great stories, his path didn't start with fame.
Ну, во-первых, если бы я не любил это, наверное, я тоже бы это не делал. Первый момент. Второй момент, да, это помочь тоже близким. Ну и третий момент, уже сегодня я понимаю, где я. Также я и себе помогаю. Я уже понимаю, что спортивный век, он небольшой, это буквально 4-5 лет, и также я буду неинтересен в спорте. Вот, за это время, раз уже здесь, надо укрепиться, чтобы после можно было тоже чем-то заниматься.
It started with a challenge. One day as a teenager, he walked into a boxing gym, not because he dreamed of gold belts, but because he wanted to defend himself, because he refused to be the kind of person who backed down when life pushed forward. And from that moment on, something inside him clicked. The ring became a sanctuary, the grind became addictive, and losing became unacceptable. He trained under coaches who didn't hand out praise, coaches who didn't tolerate excuses. If Yan wanted results, he'd have to chase them. If he wanted greatness, he'd have to earn it. And that became his identity, earning everything. But the cage was waiting for him. Once he entered mixed martial arts, it didn't take long for people to realize he wasn't just another boxer trying out a new sport. He had footwork that cut angles like blades, a jab sharp enough to split through defenses, a relentless pressure that suffocated opponents, and above all, a fighting IQ that made him dangerous in ways strength alone never could. But talent isn't enough.
Teruto Ishihara, Yan fights almost exclusively as a boxer. While he does have great success getting a first-round KO, his fists are essentially his...
Работала. Также я потом там за своими младшими за кем-то старался присматривать, потому что понимал, ну, это... Во-первых, ты раньше взрослеешь, во-вторых, многим вещам ты знаешь ценности и знаешь, как что достается. Но я думаю, что для меня это сыграло огромную...
Yan's early days were full of battles that didn't make headlines, but forged him into what he needed to become. There were nights he trained long after the gym closed, pushing himself when no one else was watching. There were days he studied opponents with a cold calm, breaking down their weaknesses like puzzles he was born to solve. He wasn't just preparing to win fights, he was preparing to take over a division. When the UFC finally signed him, he arrived without theatrics, without trash talk, without a rehearsed slogan to sell. He just offered a promise. He would fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, and he meant it. His rise through the bantamweight division was fast, brutal, and undeniable. Each fight was a message. Each victory was a warning. He didn't come to participate in the division. He came to dismantle it. Analysts noticed the composure. Fighters noticed the pressure. Fans noticed the attitude. There was something different about this man. They could see it in the way he carried himself inside the octagon. Calm, calculated, ruthless. A fighter who grew stronger the longer the fight lasted. A fighter who didn't rely on luck or hype, only skill and resolve. And as the wins piled up, the whispers began. Could he be champion? Could the Siberian technician rise to the top? Could he beat the legends? Yan didn't answer those questions with words. He answered them with fists. Every jab was a declaration. Every combination was a statement. And every victory brought him closer to the belt. When the title shot finally arrived, he didn't see it as an achievement. He saw it as the inevitable destination of a journey forged through sweat, sacrifice, and unwavering belief. The fight itself was everything pressure can create. A career-defining moment, two fighters chasing one goal, a belt waiting for the one who refused to break. And Petr Yan did what Petr Yan always does. He kept marching forward. He kept reading his opponent. He kept turning every exchange into data he could weaponize. Round by round, the momentum shifted. And in that final moment, after years of being overlooked, doubted, questioned, he rose to the top. The referee stepped in, the belt was wrapped around his waist, and the world finally learned what Petr Yan had known all along. He was a champion, but champions don't get to rest. Not in the UFC. In this sport, the moment you become king, the world hunts you. Challenges come from every corner, rivals sharpen their tools just for a chance to dethrone you. Pressure becomes your full-time sparring partner, and Yan faced all of it. The critics, the controversies, the setbacks, the rematches, the nights where the world questioned him again. But here's the thing about true fighters. They don't collapse under adversity, they evolve. And Petr Yan evolved. He rebuilt, he recalibrated, he refocused. He stepped back into the cage with the same fire he carried from that cold town in Siberia. The story of Petr Yan is not a story of perfect victories. It's a story of persistence, of resilience, of a man who refuses to let one moment define his legacy. Yes, he fought through some of the toughest challenges of his career. Yes, he endured moments that would have broken many fighters. But Yan is not many fighters. He is a strategist, a worker, a machine built through years of discipline. And when he climbed his way back into title contention, he brought with him experience that only hardship can create.
Мой тренер, он не смог прилететь, он мне сказал, файтвик неделю, улыбайся, наслаждайся этим моментом, давай, улыбайся, будем.
You could see it in his eyes, focused, steady, unwavering. You could hear it in the tone of his interviews. No excuses, no distractions. You could feel it when the octagon door closed. This was a fighter who had returned with purpose. And when he reclaimed gold, when he lifted that UFC belt once again, the roar that followed wasn't just for a victory. It was for a comeback, a reminder, a declaration that true champions rise not when the world cheers, but when the world doubts. The story of Petr Yan is far bigger than a belt. It's the story of pushing forward when everything tells you to stop, of refusing to be defined by a single moment, a single mistake, a single setback. Yan represents every fighter who wasn't handed the spotlight but earned it, every athlete who built themselves from the ground up, every person who kept walking, even through the coldest winters, punch by punch, round by round, fight by fight.
Я очень счастлив стоять здесь с поясом чемпиона. Я очень рад. Спасибо огромное всем болельщикам.
And for Petr Yan, the journey is far from over. There will always be another challenger, another rising star, another hungry fighter dreaming of the belt he wears. When he steps into the cage, he fights with the weight of years of discipline. He carries the lessons of every loss, the confidence of every win, and the fearlessness of a man who has already weathered storms greater than any opponent standing in front of him. And that is why fans watch him. Not just because he's precise, not just because he's powerful, but because he fights with intent, because he brings authenticity, because he competes with the quiet fury of someone who remembers exactly where he came from and how hard he fought to leave it behind. Petr Yan's story is a reminder that champions are crafted long before the world sees them, that the hardest battles happen in silence, that the real victories happen in the hours no one praises, the sacrifices no one sees, and the determination no one can measure. His legacy isn't just the belt, it's the journey.
Я как-то очень стремительно пришел к поясу. Очень много допустил ошибок в своих прошлых подготовках. Очень я сильно верил, что я все умею и умею бороться.
It's the evidence that resilience beats doubt. It's the proof that discipline outlasts hype. It's the message that no matter the setback, no matter the criticism, no matter the challenge, if you keep moving forward, victory finds you. And so, the story continues. For the new UFC champion Petr Yan, the road ahead is dangerous, demanding, and unpredictable. But if there is one thing we know by now, it is this: he will not back down. He will not slow down. He will not hand over anything freely. Because he is Petr Yan, the fighter who built himself from cold nights in Siberia, the fighter who rose through one of the toughest divisions in the world, the fighter who reclaimed gold when the world doubted him most, the fighter who embodies what it means to endure. And as long as he keeps walking into that octagon,
Я же понимаю, я дерусь дома у чемпиона. Я прилетел сюда 30 часов с другого континента. Я понимаю, чтобы выиграть.
one truth remains certain: his story is far from finished. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.